In three, two, one. Welcome back to Healing Out Loud, Boundaries and Becoming, where we stop pretending and start healing for real. It's your girl, your host Kayla, and welcome my beautiful people and my fellow overthinkers. Y'all are truly a part of this family. So let's talk boundaries, becoming, and everything it takes to live this life out loud. So, have you ever noticed how some people don't really miss you? They miss what you did for them. They miss the space you filled, the silence you absorbed, the loneliness you distracted them from. And for a long time, that can feel like love. It can feel like purpose and like connection because being needed feels good, especially if you spent your life learning how to be useful, how to be accommodating, and how to make yourself easy to keep. And I'll be honest, I've been this person. I've mistaken being needed for being loved. I've stayed because someone leaned on me even when they never really stood with me. But here's the hard truth, guys. We don't say it loud enough, but being needed isn't the same as being chosen. Whew, that hurt. And if you've ever felt replaceable the moment you stop giving, if you ever noticed how quiet it gets when you stop reaching out, friend, that wasn't you failing. That was you stepping out of a role you were never meant to live in forever. Because you were never meant to be someone's emotional holding tank. You're not here to carry what they refuse to face. You are allowed to take up space, have needs, have boundaries, and still be worthy of love. And if something in your chest tightens right now or making you feel a little uncomfortable, that's not weakness. That's awareness. And like I've told y'all before, awareness is where change starts. So on today, let's talk. Let's slow things down and really look at the relationships in our lives. And we're going to decide whether we're someone's person or we're just a void they keep coming back to. All right? Now, when we say being a void in someone's life, I want to clear something up real quick. Okay? Friend, this is not an insult. Okay? It doesn't mean you're empty and it doesn't mean you're broken. It definitely doesn't mean you're walking around like a black hole in human form. Being a void means you've been placed in a role where your presence is used to feel something not to be known. You're there to absorb emotions, to listen without being heard, to steady someone else while quietly setting yourself aside. It's like basically you've become an emotional customer service. There's no business hours, no hold music, just unlimited support. And the wild part, most of the time, you don't even realize it's happening. And that's because it starts small. You're the one they vent to. You're the one who gets it. The one who's always calm, always available, and always saying, no, yeah, that makes sense. And you tell yourself that this is what being supportive looks like. But support turns into self-abandonment when it only flows one way. A void isn't someone people pour into. It's someone people pour out into. They come to you when they're overwhelmed, unsure, or lonely. And once they feel better, it's like poof. They're busy. They're fine. They've been quote unquote meaning to text you. And no, you didn't imagine that shift. And it's not because you didn't matter, friend. It's because you were never invited into the parts of their life that actually mattered to them. Now, here's the part I really want you to hear, because this is where the power comes back. If you've been a void before, it's not because you lack value. It's because you have capacity. You have emotional depth. You know how to hold space. You know how to care, and sometimes a little too well. But the issue was never that you gave too much. It's that the giving wasn't being met. And learning to see the difference isn't about becoming colder, guarded, or hard to reach. It's about realizing that not everyone deserves front row access to your energy. You don't need to stop being kind. You just need to stop offering unlimited refills to people who only show up when they're empty. So, this is the part where we stop theorizing and start paying attention. Because the difference between being someone's person and being their void isn't dramatic, it's behavioral. It shows up in patterns, so let's talk signs. If you're a void in someone's life, I want you to notice they reach out when they're stressed, lonely, bored, or spiraling. But when things are good, when they're happy or busy or in love, you don't really hear from them. You're the emotional fire extinguisher. They break the glass, dump everything on you, and once the fire's out, friend, you go right back on that wall. When they need you, you make it. When you ask for time, somehow they never have it. They're busy, they're tired, they'll let you know and they'll circle back. But somehow their problems always finds room in your schedule. And here's another quiet one people don't always catch. A void doesn't get supported. It gets used. They don't really show interest in your goals. They don't ask about your dreams unless it's surface level. They don't celebrate your wins unless it's convenient. You can be building something meaningful and they're nowhere to be found. They don't show up. They don't check in. They don't ask how they can support you. And if you do ask, it feels like you're asking for too much. But let's talk about what it's like being someone's person. When someone sees you as their person and not a void, they show up without needing to be prompted. You don't have to explain why something matters. They already care. They remember your goals. They ask how it's going. They celebrate your progress, even in the small stuff. They're there for you without you having to ask, not because they're perfect, but because you matter to them. They make time, they make effort, and they make space. And here's a big one. When you set a boundary, your person will adjust. But when you're just a void, it's just going to make them feel uncomfortable. Someone who values you may need a moment to, think about what you just said to them. Okay, it might be a bit much, but at the end of the day, they'll respect it. But someone who was benefiting from your overgiving will resist. They'll guilt trip you. They'll say you changed. You stop giving from an empty place. So if you're listening to this and mentally assigning roles to people in your life, first of all, congratulations, friends. Give your hands a clap, okay? Because I'm doing the same. But don't use this clarity to shame yourself. Use it to decide. Decide who shows up for your life, who supports your growth, who deserves access to you, because you don't need to be everyone's anchor. You deserve people who will anchor you too. Now, here's something most people don't talk about. We don't accidentally just become a void, okay? There's usually a story behind it. We fall into this role because at some point we learned that being needed felt safer than being chosen. Now, for me, when I was just 10 years old, when my dad passed away, that kind of loss at that age, it teaches you early that the world can disappear on you in a drop of a hat. And on top of that, some of the people who were supposed to stay, like people who were close to my dad or people who claimed they never leave, magically walked out of my life completely. And you know what? I didn't question their choices. 10-year-old little me just blamed herself. I thought if I had just did more, if I just gave more, if I just cared harder, they stay. So I made a quiet promise to myself. I said, Kayla, if I just keep pouring into people, they won't leave. And I became more available, more understanding, more patient. I did whatever it took to keep people around. And on the surface, it worked. People stayed, or at least they stayed close enough to take from me. But here's the part I had to face later. I wasn't building connection. I was bargaining for belonging. And in trying so hard not to lose people, you know who I lost? Myself. And that's how becoming a void happens. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're scared of abandonment. Because you care deeply. Because you're willing to give pieces of yourself in exchange for closeness. And I want you to hear this clearly. If that's your story too, there is nothing wrong with you, friend. Your instinct to love harder came from pain, not from failure. But here's where the power comes back. You don't have to earn your place in someone's life by overgiving. You don't have to exhaust yourself to be worthy of staying, and you don't have to keep hurting yourself to keep others comfortable. Because the people who are meant to stay won't require you to disappear to keep them. And realizing that isn't the end of connection. It's the beginning of a healthier one. Now, time for a hard truth, and it's actually liberating. Some people will leave when you stop being a void. And it's not because you did anything wrong. It's because your role in their life was never about you. It was about what you could give, what you could absorb, what you could fix. And when you start choosing yourself, when you start setting boundaries, asking for your time, expecting respect, or letting your needs be seen, the people who can't meet you there will naturally drift away. But the freeing part, the ones who stay, the ones who truly value you, don't need you to disappear from them to feel comfortable. They see you. They show up. They celebrate your wins without being prompted. They ask how you're doing without you having to hint. They make space for you because you matter to them just as much as they matter to you. Becoming someone's person doesn't mean the relationship is perfect, okay? It doesn't mean you won't have disagreements or challenges, because that definitely will happen. It means that the foundation is real. Mutual care, respect, effort, and presence. And the most important part is when you step out of the void and into this space, you feel lighter, freer, and more alive than you have in years. You stop carrying the weight of someone else's emotional baggage. You stop bending yourself into shapes just to be enough. You start breathing for yourself again. And the people who belong in your life naturally rise to meet that energy. So yeah, some people are going to leave. And yes, it's going to hurt, friend. I know. But the ones who stay, they're the people you want. They're the people who see you, support you, and value you just as you are. And that, my friends, is the freedom you've been waiting for. So now, before we close, I want to do like we always do. I want to guide you through a short exercise. It's going to be a moment to reflect, be honest with yourself, and start stepping into your power. So friend, grab your pen, open a note app, or just sit quietly, all right? And I want you to think about the people in your life. And we're going to make 2 lists. So on your sheet of paper, draw you a line to mark it in half. And on the left side of that paper, label it your void relationships. And on the right side, you're going to put your person relationships. So let's focus on that left side first. Your void relationships. These are the people where you feel like you're giving more than you're receiving. And before you write names down, ask yourself, who do I always make time for, but they never make time for me? Who comes to me when they need support, but never ask how I'm doing? Who doesn't celebrate my goals or wins, or doesn't seem interested in my life? Who drains my energy without giving back? And those names that you thought about, soon as I ask them questions, write them down. Don't be second guessing. Just write the name under void relationships and be honest. Okay, this isn't about shaming anyone. It's about awareness. All right. Now, after you've written down all those names, let's look at list number 2, your person relationships. And these are the people who see you, value you, and show up for you. And before you write those names down, ask yourself, who makes time for me without me asking? Who celebrates me, my growth, my wins, and my life? Who supports me even when it's inconvenient? And who makes me feel safe, seen, and valued? Be honest, friend, and write their names down under person relationships. All right, now that you've gotten those names written down, take a deep breath and reflect on the difference between the two lists. Notice how it feels to see your person connections versus your void connections. How does it feel to know some people genuinely value you? And how does it feel to acknowledge where you've been giving too much without receiving enough? And here's the final step. Set an intention. Decide quietly to yourself in this very moment how you want to move forward. Friend, who deserves more of your time, energy, and care? And who can you start gently stepping back from to protect yourself and your well-being? Even just naming the difference is powerful. Even just acknowledging the voids allows you to stop carrying them. And imagining yourself as someone's person, being fully seen, supported, and valued, it'll plant a seed for the relationships you deserve. Remember, you don't have to do this all at once. Awareness is the first step. Choice is the second. And guess what comes next? Your healing. And as we wrap up today, I want you to hold on to one thing. You are not your past. You are not the void you may have filled in someone else's life. You are a person with depth, worth, and the power to choose who deserves your energy. Think back to the exercise we just did. You wrote down the people who were voids in your life. Those who drained you, who never showed up, who didn't make space for you. And you wrote down the people who are your person. Those who see you, support you, celebrate you, and value you without conditions. That's clarity and freedom. Here's the empowering truth. You get to decide who stays in your life. You get to protect your energy. You get to step out of being someone's void and step into being someone's person. The kind of presence that is fully appreciated, fully reciprocated, and fully valued. Some people may leave when you make this shift, and friend, that's okay. Because the ones who stay are exactly the people you want in your corner. The one who truly sees you. The ones who honor your time, your energy, and your heart. So here's my invitation to you. Look at your list. Decide who deserves your care, your attention, your presence, and give yourself permission to step back from the rest. And you step back gently, firmly, and without any guilt. This is your path to healing. This is your path to freedom. And this is your path to connection that actually nurtures you. You don't have to be everything to everyone. You just have to be fully you. And let the people who are meant to be in your life meet you there. So let's talk. Who do we want to be there for you? And who do you want to let go of? Decide today. Not tomorrow, friend. Not next week. Not next month. Quit holding it off and decide today. Step into yourself today. Step into the relationships that honor you today. Leave the voids behind today. Because when you do, you're not just surviving. Friend, you're thriving. And say it with me, guys. That's growth, baby. Thank you guys so much for showing up for your messy, beautiful, real self and for being willing to do the work it takes to heal. Guys, continue to follow this show wherever you may listen. And if this episode spoke to your heart, remember, share it with someone who needs a reminder that they're not alone, or they need a laugh and a little healing. Because we're on what? Our healing journey. And until then, Make sure you continue to take care of your energy, protect your peace, and remember, becoming might be messy, but it's also beautiful. You've been listening to Healing Out Loud, Boundaries and Becoming. Keep healing, keep becoming, and keep laughing when life gets messy out loud. It's your girl, your host, who's going to continue doing the absolute most, Kayla, signing off. And until then, bye! I'm just saying Bible, don't compete with the rivals. Can we think about the minute?